There we go. All right, now we're going to record it. All right, so on this kind of question, we're really going to be looking at how do we take all this information and make a possible sketch of a graph. There's many different types of graphs you can make for this. And so what I would consider is trying to organize this information the best you can. And I would say using a sign chart will give you a kind of good idea about what's going to happen. So first thing on our sign chart, we're going to make an F prime sign chart. What that's going to mean is we're going to first put on there where the derivative equals 0. So it says f prime of -2 equals f prime of 1, which equals 0. So all of those, so at -2 and at 1, those are going to be our critical values, our critical numbers. Everybody go with that? This second statement here, it says f prime is greater than 0 or positive, or x is less than -2. Okay, so we got that. So positive, x is less than -2. And or from 1 to 2. Okay, so I've got another value it gave me over here. I know it's positive, but it's only positive until we get to 2. I'm just going to put 2 in there. Even though 2 is not a critical number, I am going to include it there because it does say something else is going to happen. And then lastly, it says that f prime is less than 0 from -2 to 1. So it's going to be negative in there. Right? So at this point, we kind of know that our graph should be, the graph of f should be increasing, decreasing, and then increasing to 2. So we've got that right there. So we've got to have a look for how the graph is going to look already at various points. And then it tells us f prime equals 1, or say 1. Right? Not the way I want this question to be. All right, that's fine then. Okay, so it's going to equal 1 for x is greater than 2. So it's going to end up being 1 over here. Did I mess something up? I feel like I messed something up there. Greater than 0 for, yeah, usually I make this go the opposite direction, it would be negative, but I guess not. I guess I'm going to continue it as at a straight line. Okay, we'll answer the question on the page and not maybe the question I intended to put up there. All right, then the next thing is, it's telling us that f double prime is greater than 0 from 0 to 2. So that just tells us this section of the graph from 0 to 2 is going to be what? Concave up, right? So it's going to be concave up in that section right there. That just kind of gives me a little idea that that's going to be concave up there. And then over here, f prime is less than 0 for x is less than 0. So we know it's going to be concave down. This section of the graph is going to be concave down. Right? Which kind of can fit with our increasing and all that stuff. Does that make sense? All right. So we can pick any point to start with. So I'm going to pick my maximum point. So I guess kind of what I would do is I know I'm going to have a maximum at -2 and a minimum at 1. So at -2 on my graph, you can put it anywhere. You can put it here, you can put it here, wherever. Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't say where you have to put it. So I'm going to put it, since the maximum, I'll put it fairly high on the graph. What do we know is going to happen at 0? Since the concavity changes. Point of inflection, okay? I also know there's going to be a minimum at 1. So I put 1, like say right here. Again, we're sketching graphs. We're not having the graph. Okay? And then I'll put my point of inflection maybe like right there. Okay? That seems reasonable. All right, and then I know out here, once I get to say this point, once I get to 2, we're going to have a slope of 1. I know that's going to be true, right? Over there, we know this slope has to be 1 over in that section. So I got that. This point is going to be concave down, like that. And this is going to be concave. Sorry, this is concave up. Did I say concave down? Concave up. So concave up right there. Then the other section over here is going to be concave down. It's going to be something like that. And that is a possible. So it says possible, right? So there are more than one likely answer that fits the different criteria. Okay? But a sign chart can kind of help you maybe organize your thinking as you go through. Questions over that? All right, so let's look at the first question. I'm going to do the first one with you, and I'm going to let you guys do some of these. So the first question, hopefully you can see it's on Google. It's on the same assignment. It's just question 1. So question number 1. I'm not going to write out the whole question, but it basically tells us we've got f of 2 equals -1. We've also got f prime of 2 equals 0. So we know if we go ahead and draw a graph of this one, we can actually sketch it. This tells us there's a point right here at 2, -1. So somewhere in place right there. You don't have to sketch it, you just have it like this. And we know we have a tangent line. It's going to be horizontal right there. And it tells us that f prime, you have f prime of x is greater than 0, or x is less than 2, and f prime of x is less than 0, or x is greater than 2. And so if you want to make a sign chart, you can. Very simply, we put a 2 here, and we know for x is less than 2, this first derivative is positive. For x is greater than 2, it's negative. So we know our graph should look something like this, increasing, decreasing. And so when I draw the graph over here, I can just draw any graph that has a horizontal tangent line right there, and it's increasing and then decreasing. Okay? Does that make sense? How you go about it? Because there's not one right answer to this, right? So it doesn't have to be a sort of certain width, but it can't be. Answers that would not be okay are a sharp corner, right? Because it does specifically say it has to be 0, so it can't just be a sharp corner. It has to be some sort of smooth curve right there as it reaches the maximum. Questions over that? All right, I'm going to let you guys go through this and try some of these graphing questions. If you have any questions, let me know. I can help you out. The answers are there, so you can check your answers if you're not sure. These things give you different things, like question 3 actually gives you some points. If you look at question 3, this messes some students up. It gives you some points, and then it just tells you whether the first derivative and the second derivative are positive or negative on those intervals. Okay? So I would plot those points first, and then just connect them using the appropriate, like decreasing concave down, increasing concave up. Realize there are 4 curves you're really going to be using, right? Increasing concave up, increasing concave down, decreasing concave up, and decreasing concave down, right? So those are going to be your 4 curves you're going to have, or you have straight lines. Those are really all the different things, right? This is f prime positive, f double prime positive, f prime positive, f double prime negative, f prime negative, f double prime positive, f prime negative, f double prime negative. Okay? And so using those kind of ideas, you should be able to connect. All right, anybody have any questions over that? Okay.